Okay, can you guys hear me? You might hear my dog barking as well. All right, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I had some power issues at my house today, and I was trying to get logged in, and it was like I was logged out of the Zoom, and I had all kinds of issues with getting started here. I apologize for the late start, but thanks for coming in. How is everybody today? And like I said, you might hear my dog barking. He is not happy with me. He's in his crate, but we got to contain the beast. All right, everybody's doing good. It's a rainy day here in Pittsburgh. Just trying to get through this day, right? Get to the weekend here. It's his shine time. You're right. Yep. He does not like to be in his crate, that's for sure. All right, well, welcome to live lecture 2. Again, this is week 2. You guys are pretty much like by the end of this weekend, you're at the halfway point of this class, which is kind of crazy. It goes really fast. How is everybody doing with their project so far, your future story? Are you getting kind of more used to using style sheets, master pages, all that good stuff? Still having issue with the second page. Okay. Having a lot of fun rearranging. Okay. Where we change the master page. Okay. Let's see here. We will have some time, so if you need to share your screen after I go over everything, we can do that too and take a look. Oh, the whole thing. Okay. Alrighty. Well, yeah, we definitely can take a look at that. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, it's definitely fun. Like just kind of playing around with it, and once you kind of get used to just kind of using the paragraph style sheets and kind of moving your lines around, it is actually, I think, kind of fun. It can get a little frustrating if things don't go, the way that you want it to. But I don't know. I think it's fun. I always have a good time with layout pages and all that stuff. So hopefully you guys are feeling the same way. All right, that part's easy, yeah. All right, well, let's get started with where I kind of left off because we didn't quite finish everything that we needed to the last lecture, and I did that on purpose because we did go over a lot of stuff the last lecture, and I just didn't want to overwhelm you, and we have some time today, so I figured we'll just go ahead and do that today. So I'll just continue with assignment 2 demo. Look over your assessment 2 quiz. Unfortunately, I can't tell you specifically what's on that, but we'll definitely take a look at that. So let's go ahead and switch over to the layout that I had when we were last talking here. And when we're done, like I said, I'll just open it up for critique so you guys can get your stuff ready in the meantime, because we shouldn't be super long. We don't have too much to go over today. So make sure you kind of prepare your files so that we can go right into it. All right, like I said before, we're going from page 3, 4, 5, and 6 for this specific project. And, making it visually interesting, making sure that you're paying attention to proximity. So you want to make sure, I saw a lot of your tabs, people that are trying to do consistent tabbing. I did see a lot of misalignment with that. So for example, they would maybe have the type like this, and then it would be like off center, and then the tab itself would be like this. you know, and then the next tab would be like this. So make sure that wherever you place your baseline of your tab for your words, that you're making it align so that all the way across, and you can draw a margin guide to test this or check your properties box that I showed you, and make sure it's on the same baseline across, you know, from it if you have another tab over here. Also make sure that your words are centered in the middle of whatever element that you have. I saw a lot of people who weren't paying attention to that. Very detail-oriented stuff that we need to pay attention to, because, you know, the devil is in the details, I like to say. Let me get back here. Okay, move some stuff around here. Oops. Okay, so just kind of make sure that you're paying attention to that. Kind of redoing here. Hold on one second. Okay, so just kind of make sure you're paying attention to that. And then also, you know, right now I have, you know, some stuff that I need to still kind of work around, like this. This is called an orphan up here. That's a bad break. You never really want to have just one line of text on a second column starting. You really don't want to have one line of text down here as well in the first column, ending a column. So that definitely needs to be fixed. Pay attention to widows. That's the last, and like only one word on the last, any last paragraph. Pay attention to that. And like I said before, we were kind of still working on pull quotes that we need to pull out on this still. So we're going to rearrange this before everything's said and done. I could probably fix this widow here because I'm not really going to have the pull quote anywhere close to here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cursor in here and do like a shift return and see if that kind of bumps everything down. That looks pretty good. That shift return is a soft return. It's not a hard return. So it keeps, you know, the style of the first paragraph without any kind of weird break. All right, so what you're going to do, and hopefully you're reading through your article, so you know a nice pull quote. You have to pull 2 pull quotes, and you guys know what pull quotes are? Probably, right? Yeah. So it's like kind of you're taking key points from the article that you think are acceptable to highlight, to pull out of the text to make it bigger so that maybe it draws the attention of the reader first, and then it kind of pulls their attention to reading the article even more. So I decided to, and the pull quote really is only like maybe a very short sentence. It's not like a couple sentences long because you are making it bigger. So I decided to make this my pull quote: keep your house stocked with the right food. Cravings are evident, but if you have almonds in your cupboard instead of junk food, then you're more apt to eat healthier. You know, that's 2 sentences, but it's still kind of short, and I can pull from that just a little tip that I think would be kind of cool to highlight. Now, there's different ways that you can do this, and I just did a copy, and I'm going to do a paste of that copy. You want to keep that copy in there, and then you're just going to duplicate it in a text box over here, just kind of like how I did it here. Now, you can do different things to this. Now, obviously, we're going to make a paragraph style sheet, so we're going to go to paragraph styles to paragraph. Let me make sure that this, okay, good. And then we're going to go ahead and highlight that. We're going to go up to the new paragraph style, and we're going to name this pull quote. And then I'm going to give this a different, and I think I was using Universe, a different font other than a serif font. And I'm going to do 57 condensed. Let's do all caps, see what that looks like. And then I'm going to make it much larger. So let's try 18 points. See what that looks like. Actually, let me see if I might do bold condensed. All right, so check it out. Go ahead and set that and see what it looks like. See if you like that, you know, how big it is. Don't forget to put the quotes in there. Now there are smart quotes that you can put in here. Smart quotes kind of make it so that it looks more like a quote here. So I'm going to highlight just that first quote, and I'm going to go up to type, and I'm going to go down to insert special character, kind of like how you did for the page numbering, but instead of doing markers, I'm going to do quotation marks. And this is my left side quotation mark. So I'm going to choose double left quotation marks. And that's just going to make sure that it's set in the right quotations. These are straight double quotation marks, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. It kind of goes up and down. We don't want that. We want it to be slanted. That looks good, so we're going to keep it. All right, so now that you have the quotation, make sure you have a period before the quote. There's different ways that you can handle the pull quote. You can have the actual pull quote in your copy itself. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. You can go ahead and pull this into your copy. The only thing that you'll want to do is put a text wrap on it. So go up to Window, go to Text Wrap, and you're going to go ahead and choose the second option here, which is Wrap Around Bounding Box. That's that blue box here. And then you can go ahead, if this is linked, it's going to set the same clear space. See how the clear space is getting bigger based on what I choose here. Now you can set this in your copy. The only thing is you have to really be careful that it's not hindering your reading in any way. So you might, you know, obviously play around with the width of the box. You may even want to change it so that it's centered instead of left justified. So I go right back into my style sheets and choose indents and spacing and centered. That would center it here. So you can kind of play with that here. You can put a box behind it. The only thing that you need to be really wary of that is, like, say if you wanted to do a copy box behind this. Let's make this, let's change this so it's white. So let's go double click on pull quote. Let's make it white so we can read it. This is a tricky thing that bring to front. There we go. You just have to make sure that what you're gonna do is you're going to create the box, make sure it's even on all sides. You may need to adjust this if you wanted something to kind of pop this out a little bit more. You can even put a drop shadow on this too. Like even the type, you can put a drop shadow on. Just select the type, go to Object Effects, Drop Shadow. I would put a very slight drop shadow, just a very light, subtle one. So I would pull back the shadow and pull back the opacity so it's not super, super, super dark. So I put, like, distance is 0.0625 and the opacity is 20% black. You could do something like that. You can also put it on the actual box itself if you want. And again, make it a subtle, 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 maybe the same, if not less. There we go. It just looks better that way. And I'll just do, so you can see, kind of pops off the page. Now the only issue with this is I only put the text wrap on the actual bounding box of the copy box, not the square itself. Now what you're gonna have to do in order to kind of set that so it doesn't fight with each other is you're gonna have to shift select the copy box with the square. And that's gonna select the copy box with the square behind it. So you wanna select both. And then you wanna choose Object Group or Command G. And then you're gonna hit the wrap box, okay? And then that way, and see how it kind of gives a little bit more because we have too much down here. That way it's going around the box itself. I'm gonna ungroup this and fix that here. This text box can be pulled up a little bit. But that's how you would do a text wrap on the actual box, or else it won't apply it. Okay, and you can move that around if it's kind of making a weird break. You can kind of move this around and see kind of what works for your copy. Always kind of check down here to see how everything's kind of flowing at the end of your article. And then there's another option you can do. You don't have to have it in the actual text itself. You can actually have it maybe hanging off of your image over here. Let me ungroup this and show you what I mean. Like, let's say we'll make this black, just something different here. And maybe have it more so kind of over the image and less the copy. You can adjust, you can adjust the, if it's too big, you kind of want to fit it in here a little bit better. You can definitely adjust the point size. Let's go with maybe 16 instead of 18. Oh, let's also adjust the track or the leading. That looks good. Pull quote, okay. And then I'm going to do left justified instead of centered. Just because we're not doing this in the actual copy anymore, we're just kind of doing it. Let me see if there's an alignment here. Hold on one second. Yeah, we're going to take the align to grid off. So go to indents and spacing in your pull quote, make sure align to grid is off. You just want that on your body copy. That way I'll give you an accurate spacing of your leading. And so let me change that a little bit here. Space that a little bit more. Okay. So you can definitely kind of do it in this regard. So you could just put it like kind of halfway in, halfway out. See what kind of looks best for your overall ad. So this is nice, kind of a nice option to do if you don't have a lot of room. Put text wrap on here first. Sorry, guys. So definitely put a text wrap on here, but this is nice if you don't have a lot of room in your copy and you're kind of trying to save space. Pull this down so it aligns with my other stuff. So there we go. So that's one pull quote. You have to do 2 pull quotes, so just kind of pay attention to your spacing down here. It looks like I still have a lot of spacing, which is great. So I'm going to do a little bit of a different pull quote. Did you have any questions about that before we go forward? Okay. This one I'm going to do a little bit differently, where we're going to do maybe like something a little bit more stylized here. So this would be, okay, so yeah, I can see how this is kind of all needs to be changed here. All right, so I'm going to pull out, try and get at least 8 hours of sleep each night. Okay, so we're going to copy that part. I think that's a good option because I have a picture that can go with this. And I only used 2 pictures, and I think I have 2 more left to use. So let me see what images I have left here. Hold on one second. One of them I want to use here. The sleeping one could go with this picture or with this pull quote. And then we have another image that we have to use. And it's the woman running here. Okay. So we just have to make sure we have enough room. We don't have to use them super, super big, but sorry guys, I got my email. I should be logged out of here. Log out of there. Okay. But they need to be in there. Okay. So I'm going to draw, this is kind of a different type of a pull quote. I'm going to go ahead and draw just a square here, like a rectangle. And I'm going to give it a pink border with a white fill. And in here, I'm going to actually have the quote. So I'm going to take the type tool and then draw kind of like an evened out type box. And I'm going to make this a different style pull quote. So I'm going to go up to new paragraph style and I'm going to name this pull quote 2. Or you can name it small or whatever. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to do 14. And I want it to be that pink color. Let's see if that's readable. If not, I can always change it. And then obviously I want to put in those quotes. That looks pretty good. It's a little smaller, but it's definitely highlighted. Pull this in. Actually, I'm going to pull this down because I'm going to make this a little less wide. And then in here, so I'm going to pull this up a little bit. I'm going to make this kind of go on the right-hand side here. So I'm going to make this much smaller. And kind of tailor it to the space here. So it goes with this copy. I'm going to make this just a little smaller, copy-wise, point size-wise. And pull this up a little bit. So you can see how kind of I'm putting image with text. Align this a little bit better here. All right. And then once I'm done here, I want to put a text wrap on it. So I'm going to shift select all of these elements together to a group, object group, and then go to your text wrap. And go ahead and set that. I'm going to do 0.125. Okay, fit in window. So this is kind of like a different style of a pull quote, but it takes image and copy together. And what we can do is we can actually put this closer to where it talks about the sleep here. That way it kind of pulls it together. There we go. All right, so it kind of goes with this story here. Balance this out a little bit more. All right, so that kind of is a nice little add-on there. Do a little less. There we go. Even that space out. Any questions about that? So you could do something like that where it's a little different than this pull quote, looks slightly different. I'm keeping the typeface the same, just kind of utilizing the image with that. You can keep it looking the same and consistent throughout, that's fine, or you can kind of play around with it, just like I did. Oops. All right, so we have one more image to place in here. Got you thinking, there you go. Good. One more image to place in here, and I think I'm gonna add this to the bottom or maybe up here. Let's see. Let's see how it's gonna be. And maybe I'll keep it consistent with this square, just make it, you know, another square, just maybe a little bigger. Consistency is always good. Woman running here. It all depends on what's in the image too, what's being shown here. And maybe I'll just kind of bleed her off and then obviously do a text wrap. And that works because look, I still have some space here. I can even make her just slightly bigger. There we go. Okay. And it works too because I already have something already bleeding off up here. You know, this image is bleeding off, so it's consistent. This is bleeding off, that's consistent. The only thing I could say is like going with the squares and rectangles too, are the most consistent thing. If you're using circles, you know, obviously that would be something you'd want to keep consistent. I can probably even make it a little bit bigger. Nice, something like that. All right, now that we have two pull quotes and all of our images in, everything's pretty much set. I want to make sure everything looks good. There's no orphans, no widows. So I'm going to start at the beginning of my article here. Yes, the images go off to the bleed line. So if I hit normal here, you'll see that red bleed line. it bleeds off of the trim edge. Anytime you have an image kind of right on that trim edge, you want to bleed it off just in case the press shifts, you know, the paper shifts on press. Yep. If that happens and you have it not bled over, like the image, you have no image on this, in this bleed, it might have a white gap. So that's why you have a usually set a bleed. All right, I did want to look at this real quick. I can set this, if I do like a shift return and tab, I can tab this over. These are set in my tabs. I wanted to show you that as well. So I'm just hitting tab in front of these words to get these kind of to bump down here. It kind of aligns a little bit nicer, or nice, you know, it's a little bit more organized looking. The only thing is I think I have another set of, yeah, right here, that I would have to do that too. Oops, if I kept it consistent. So I'm just hitting the tab key. I'm putting my cursor right in front of the words here and just hitting tab. Now there might be some weird spacing issues that you need to kind of fix before that. I kept hitting the caps lock key. So you might need to kind of do a shift return before if it's like acting really weird. But see how that kind of aligns a little bit nicer and cleaner. And I already have my tabs set, so it should be okay if you just hit your tabs in there. I just did a shift select, brought that down so I don't have a weird hyphen. It looks good though. I don't see any type of weird breaks. You know, I can do some shift select down there, shift return there, just to kind of bump that down. Any type of like hyphens that are kind of double hyphens or anything like that. If you don't have that set in preferences, you can fix that. But it looks good, so kind of keep an eye. This is okay to have 2 lines of text on the second column. That's kind of what you want. You just don't want 1 line of text on the second column. That's what you call an orphan. This is good too. You don't want just 1 line of text underneath your subhead. You don't want your subhead 1 line of text and then this next line be at your second column. You want at least 2 lines at the bottom of a column or 2 lines at the top. That's kind of like the way to break it. You definitely don't want just the subhead sitting on the very bottom baseline of your end of your column. Any questions about that? All right. Yeah, so just kind of make sure you're paying attention to all those details. It can be frustrating, but you know, like I said, the devil is in the details. The more detail-oriented you are, the better, you know, it will definitely look a lot better when you're paying attention to those details. Okay, and then it's keeping it consistent, which is super important. The other thing we didn't go over was how we export this out, because once we're done, we need to make sure we're packaging this correctly. And I noticed some of you guys having issues with this. Some of you guys were perfect, you had no problems. And then I had other people that kind of only submitted the original file with the PDF and not the actual package folder. So once you're done, everything looks good. Shouldn't have anything on the last and the top page. You're going to go File, Package, and your package box will come up, and you'll notice on the left-hand side here there are little topics, fonts, links, and images. This is just for you to kind of check in here to see if everything looks good. You can see what fonts you're using, images that are in there. When everything's fine, just click Package at the very lower bottom corner, and go ahead and include a PDF in here. Smallest file size is fine because I'm just viewing it on my screen, but everything up here should be checked. You want copy fonts, linked graphics, update graphic links and package, use document hyphenation exceptions only, include fonts and links from hidden and non-printing content. hit package, and it should pretty much do the work for you. It's going to package it in a nice little neat folder, and I'll show you here in a second. I just put it on my desktop because it's just easier to see, like find sometimes. Oh, unless your desktop's really messy, which I'm going to clean mine up here before I show you my desktop. I got some things going on here. All right, so let me share my desktop. Actually, it's not too bad. This is the folder here that it created for me. So if I double click in there, I want you to make sure that everything's in here. So double click on your folder. I have the document open, so that's why this file is in there. It's just telling me it's open. But this is your native file, InDesign file. This is the PDF. This is your fonts that you're using in your file, and then this is all the linked images. Go ahead and double click on your PDF and just kind of make sure everything looks good. All right, and I'm going to view this double page spread here. So let's see, show time. There we go. So you don't have to worry about choosing spreads for your PDF. I can view it like this. So I can see, and this is important to view it like this because especially because I want to see what your double page spread looks like side by side in true print format. If not, it's a little harder to see if it works. These pages obviously are separate. So, it can be viewed as a single page, but your double page spread is super important to be able to see that. All right, so that's pretty much it. So you'll be submitting, and you're going to zip that folder. You're going to compress it and zip it and send that folder or upload it for evaluation. Any questions about that? Pretty simple. All right. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what's on your quiz then. I'm sure you guys, did anybody do the quiz yet? This is like it's a midterm quiz. Not yet, okay. I think I had a couple of you guys do it a little early. Let's take a look at this and just talk about it. This is your midterm assessment. And then, just kind of telling you, I can't obviously tell you what's on the quiz, but we can definitely take a look at the objectives covered. So discuss how styles enable better design and more efficient workflow. So you're going to kind of read up about styles again. Identify and discuss 3 strategies to create an effective workflow to create a multi-page document. Create a design strategy for a multi-page layout utilizing principles of design. Identify and discuss effective composition layouts utilizing an advanced grid system. And I did want to show you something today before we get into the rest here about grid systems. Apply a well-defined grid structure to enhance visual hierarchy. Identify 4 and apply 3 advanced tools for formatting text over multiple pages to create a balanced layout. And then utilize complex character and paragraph style sheets. So you might want to kind of read up on, obviously the style sheets will be covered in the quiz. So for this quiz, there are 15 questions. It's untimed, but you'll only be able to take it once. 50 points. All right, so what I would say is, definitely go to your, and I don't see a quick link here, so I'm gonna go back to home. Go to your readings and videos for week 1 and 2. If you want to kind of study, there's, obviously some great resources here that will be covered. And then also in week 2, here's 4 types of grids. You can take a look at that, how to create a balanced layout. All of this will definitely be great to study before you go forward. Also, I just wanted to show you 2 announcements. I posted this late last night. This is a really cool resource here. This website is great. Let me click on it if you haven't looked at it yet, to look at, because it shows you visually each type of grid that there is out there, and it'll help you create professional looking designs. So it just kind of goes into a little bit more detail about each of the words, terminology, flow lines. We talked about margins, modules, and it shows you, let me zoom out here, each example that goes with that. So here's columns. So if you're really unsure of some of the things that, you know, are being covered in this class, say, I don't know what a gutter is. This is kind of explaining it and showing it visually. Markers, types of grids, and we were just talking about this in the discussion this week. So here are all the different types of grids, and not only do they list them, they also show them in here. So manuscript grid can be shown here, so visual examples, as well as you know, supplemental copy that goes with it. So column grids, and they actually show you real examples in here. Newspaper, website. And then what's really nice is they kind of point out at the bottom here, and I'll show you, they point out what the grid structure looks like and how this is being utilized. There's a modular grid. So it's kind of cool. And then they baseline grid. I had some of you ask me about what is a baseline. This is kind of talking about the baseline grid. We were using that for our magazine here. It kind of is kind of the baseline, the lines on, say, a piece of paper. Hierarchical grid, we were talking about that in the discussion. Here's an example. So it's a really great resource if you want to kind of take a look at this and save it, just to use, maybe study for your quiz too. I'm sure that there is some things on here, and some things to think about when you are creating your magazine layouts. Some of these are a little bit more creative and different sizes, but you can kind of get inspired by that. Talks about choosing the right grid for your project. So very cool information. I wanted to share that with you guys. I thought this was definitely pertinent and relevant to what you guys are working on, and a great resource to bookmark if you need to go back and take a look at that. All right, so that's pretty much, I can't really tell you too much about what's on the quiz, but you know, I showed you where to look. So hopefully you guys will be ready to go for that. All right, this is where I'm gonna kind of give you guys the mic and the screen. If you guys want to share any of your work, questions, get extra feedback, this is where I'm gonna open it up for you guys. So you tell me who wants to go first if you wanna share anything. If not, we can just kind of end early, so you let me know.
Do you mind if I use the mic?
I don't mind.
Thank you. It's so hard.
That's okay.
When you start to do your magazine, do you start with the images or do you start with the text? Or do you do both?
I would look at your images, but I would probably place your text in first.
Okay.
Just to get it set in there. I mean, it's not really like you have to do this first.
Well, because it's like I'm having troubles, but it's because I'm always playing with the images. And I thought, thinking about it, I thought, why don't you just put the text in first and then put the images around the text?
Yes. And what's nice about that is you can see how much text that you have. Once you have it set in the specific size that you need it in, you can kind of see what space that you're playing with, like how much space you have.
Right, because that's what I was getting hung up on. I just couldn't fit it all in.
Yep. So obviously do it the other way and see if that helps.
Yeah, because I've been rearranging now for a while, and it's like, okay, I got to figure out what I'm doing. I've gone squares, circles. I'm just like all over now.
And let me tell you something. This is definitely the name of the game when you're playing with, like, when you're doing any type of publication work. It doesn't always work out the way that you want it to, because see, what I'm telling you is, like, I've had experiences where I'm designing, say, a 2-page spread like this, and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful, everything fits, we're ready to go to print, everything fits perfect, and then the last minute I have my publisher saying, we need to fit a 1/3 ad on the double page spread, and I'm like, no. So yeah,
that would terrify us.
oh yeah. So then you go, okay, I got to shrink this image to be real small and everything has to shift, and it's all last minute. So it's just one of those things that, you just have
Yeah.
to
That's
be
great.
very flexible and patient with.
Right.
I've had that so many times I can't even tell you, where it's like little fire alarm drills where like, everybody's pulling their ads or putting ads in, and it just messes the whole flow because you have it just set right usually at the end, and those little last minute changes like drive you nuts.
I bet.
But once you get used to shifting things and being more efficient in that regards, it's a little easier, I think. It's still frustrating, but you at least know some tricks and some things that you can do to make it fit.
Yeah, because right now we're still learning. Once I get more used to the
Yep.
tools and stuff, I think it'll be easier. Because I watch you guys, and it's like how fast you put things together. It's like, wow.
I know, and it's so funny because I've been doing this for over 20 years really, but publishing like 10 plus years.
Wow.
So I like do it so quick, and I usually tell students, I'm doing this super quick. So if you need me to slow down because I don't realize that I'm doing it that quick
Right.
sometimes.
I love that your mouse was bigger and stuff because I could actually see it. I have trouble with that big time. So
Oh,
that's nice. That really helps. I can see where you're clicking and where you're going.
good. That's
Because a
good.
lot of times I just looking around, like, where are they? What are they doing? Like my other class, I literally cannot do the class because I cannot see. It's XD, and I cannot see the screen. It's just white, glaring white.
Yeah.
And I can't see what he's doing. I can't see. So I haven't done a thing. My granddaughter's going to come over. I'm making her do it. Like, here, tell me what they're doing. Show me what they're doing. But
What class is that?
it's XD. It's the only app so far that does not have a dark mode. And I only have one eye that works, and it doesn't work good.
Oh no.
So the white is just glaring. It's just glaringly.
Yeah.
Glaring, that's the word, glaringly white. And XD has gotten a lot of comments on it, but they're not responding and they're not doing anything. And I was reading the comments, and it's like from 2-3 years ago and stuff, or 2 years or a year ago. And they don't even respond to which is unusual because a lot of sites I see the companies respond to your comments, but
Well, especially with a tech-based like software
yeah.
program.
So that's kind of weird because like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, I can see beautifully. I have dark mode and I can do it. But XD, man.
Interesting.
But I like it's like, man, I can see what she's doing. I love this.
That's good. Yeah, I think I have dark mode set on mine too. That's one of my dark.
And you had a big arrow, so I could see where you were clicking, which really helps because if you don't know where they're clicking, you're lost.
It's like a hockey game with the puck.
Yeah.
Like, where is it?
I like football, and I always wish they would make that ball either glow or something, because I'm looking at these, I'm like, who's got it? Who's got the ball? Where is it?
Well, they did that with the hockey puck. They put the highlight on the hockey puck, but then that was driving other people crazy. It would like look like a flare as it went across the screen, and everybody.
I guess it's hard to win, it's hard to accommodate everybody.
Did you want to share anything that you're working on, or?
Oh no, I just totally dumped everything I was doing, and I'm starting from scratch. So
Okay.
I'm starting from brand new. I have nothing together yet.
Okay.
So today's my day. I'm gonna be working on this today,
Catch up day.
and I love layout. About a month ago, I was in, I think it was a GAT club, and the lady asked, "What kind of designer are you?" I'm like, asked everybody. It's like, I don't know. And she's like, well, what is your favorite thing? What do you like to do? And I'm like, I love doing brochures and menus. That's what I like to do, because I'm not artistic, so I can't draw. But man, I love doing this.
Well, just to kind of add on to that, everybody thinks when you're a graphic designer, I think people have this misconception that you are like an artist, a fine artist, but graphic designers are not artists. We're designers. We design for other people. So you don't have to. I'm horrible at illustration. Now, if you are, that kind of helps. So artists and graphic designers can work together and be on the same coin. They're just two different things, though. So, yeah.
Because I mean, even if you're the artist, you still have to have your focal points and your principles and stuff in there, or
Right. The only difference is when you're a fine artist, you're not necessarily designing for a client. And sometimes you are. More,
I
you know what I mean? It's more about them and their style.
right. You're trying to please them instead of what's coming from you.
Right. You're actually trying to, when you're a graphic designer, you're designing for a client. You're designing their brand, their look, where an artist is more of like, that's who they are, their style, and it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like their personal self stuff. Yeah, I get what you mean. It's more
More
personal.
subjective than objective, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not good with the
You
words.
don't have to be really good at art to be a graphic designer. I always tell people, they're like, oh, I can't draw. I can't be a graphic designer. I'm like, you don't have to be able to draw. I mean, if you're a graphic designer, I hardly ever draw. I mean, sometimes I'll put fine art into my work, like mixed media stuff, but I'm not an illustrator. So.
Right, right. Yeah, this is great. Oh, hey, Odyssey, I just saw your thing there. I don't know if I tried to turn down my brightness or not.
Yeah, there's a
That's
little.
my grandson showed me on my computer the other day. I didn't even know it was there.
Oh, there you go.
Ma, look.
Everything else will get dim though. That's the only problem. But
Ah,
yeah, you could try that for sure. Sometimes it will shift based on your settings, like your phone. If you have it set to like if you're out in the real bright sun, it'll adjust to that.
right.
If I don't know. I don't think my computer does it, but
It had I did something. It had what
yeah,
was
night
it?
or day. Mm-hmm.
Higher contrast mode or something. I put it
Mm-hmm.
on night and day. Yeah, that one.
There you go.
Yeah, that one. See, when I put it on the night thing, then I can't see anything. It just makes it all like, it's like, whoa. I have weird eye. Well, I have just the one eye that works and it's got cataracts. So it's just not very well.
I have really horrible vision. I have like I'm probably close to being legally blind, but
You too, huh?
I'm like I can't see 3 feet in front of me, so I have.
That's why your arrow is so nice.
Well, I have contacts, so. But I do have bad eyesight without my contacts for sure. It's like.
It's funny. A couple of people I've talked to in the classes have the same issues in different classes. There's a lot of people, more than you think, with the eye troubles that is doing the computer stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't feel so bad. I'm not alone because sometimes people are. They're sitting home thinking, why, if you can't see, are you doing computer stuff? But it's like I don't want to stop doing things. I want to get off disability. I'm so tired of being on disability, and being so dang poor.
Well, you're going to be looking at something. If you're not looking at it on screen, you're going to be looking at it on a desk. So.
Yeah. So, just because they don't work good don't mean you stop using them.
Cool.
See, and Odyssey, huh? You're at a computer all day. Do you work? Oh, see, I don't work. So I have all day to sit and try to do this, but you work and do school? Wow. You must be young. I'm an old gal.
People have like 2 jobs and a family, and they juggle everything. It's pretty crazy.
It is.
And they are older. So, a lot of them are restarting their career and their life, like older. And
that's me. I mean, I was pretty much just sitting waiting for the end of life to end, it's like, and then I was looking for coupons online one day on my phone, trying to get coupons, and I ended up in college instead.
there you go.
Someone called me. I just started talking to him. The next thing you know, it's like, well, okay. But I love it. I mean, I finally have something to do now.
Oh, good. Yeah, so, it's
Young gal, but old soul. I used to get told that when I was young, too. All the time. So I get you. Now I'm an old soul with a young mind. I want to go, go, go now and do things. And my body says, oh, no, you don't.
You can't do that now.
But I'm trying to get healthier, too. I'm trying to change my eating habits and just everything,
That makes a big difference mentally, for sure.
It does. And I live alone. And so I don't cook. And I have to go to my daughter's to cook anyway because I don't have you know,
Mhm.
amenities. And so it's a pain.
That makes it tough. I went through a divorce and I was so used to cooking for so many, certain amount of people.
Right.
And it's like all of a sudden everything changes.
Yeah.
So I understand. And I just went through an 80-pound weight loss 2 years ago. So it's like,
You did?
I did, well, I had my daughter, she's 5 now, but I had her and then I kind of just, it was like I poured
Oh.
myself into her and the work and I lost
Mhm.
track of myself. And then one day I'm like, I had an aha moment where I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to change this.
Yeah, right. I'm with you. I'm the same way,
I'm like,
It's
I don't want to be like this anymore. Yeah.
yeah. I got animals, so they get everything before me.
Mm-hmm. You're a
So,
nurturer like me.
and their vets are not cheap, let me tell you. I mean, and I even got a good one that's cheaper than the rest of them, but they're still,
Oh
these
yeah.
animals cost a lot of
I'm going
money.
to bed on Friday or tomorrow with my new puppy, and that's
Oh, that's right. You got a new one.
yeah. So looks like we're gonna have to get him pet insurance, and that's expensive. But
I never even thought of that. See, just buying their food and their vets and their toys and their treats and everything. It's like
now they have pet insurance for it covers certain things, and it's like,
wow.
geez, like.
Yeah.
Well, he needs to get neutered, so that it will, cover a lot of that too. So
Wow, yeah.
and that's expensive.
I'm telling you, my daughter, like her vet, they charge like hundreds of dollars. I got an awesome vet, and he, I think it's like 140, 150. He does it.
Well, that's good.
I get their teeth cleaned, and well, they had some new law that changed now. Before any animal goes under surgery, they have to have a physical.
Oh, okay.
So that added $40 because that's the $40 for a visit.
Right.
So now so when I go get her my chihuahuas next for her teeth, she's looking at me like, what?
I heard that.
So that's only going to cost me like $160. That's cheap.
Yeah, it's still,
My daughter took her dog to a vet in town. It was $400. I'm like, oh my God. Just to clean his teeth. Pull a tooth.
Once they go under, yep, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do? Sometimes you're stuck with like, I have to do this.
Yeah, I
I had a $7,000 vet bill when my dog had an issue with his spine. But, or she did, and she didn't make it through the surgery after a couple of days, so she ended up passing away. She was only 3, but it was terrible. It was many years ago. But the vet asked if we wanted to put her into like a trial thing where they put her in like an oxygen chamber to see if it sped up her healing. And we were like, yeah, sure, not thinking anything about it. Well, when they told us that she passed away and they told us what the final bill was, it was like close to being $8,000. And they said, because you opted her into this program, you only have to pay like $700.
Oh.
Because we were part of the trial. And I'm like, I had no idea. I'm like, thank goodness.
Wow.
And I mean, it's so, it's like, what are you going to do? You're just like, just do whatever you need to do to like fix her. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's always life stuff, right?
Right. Obviously, I'm going to shut up now and you can ask questions and share your work. And
Let me know if you have any questions. And Odyssey, do you have anything you want to share? Or questions or anything?
Yeah, this is a great time to get help.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Right, let's see.
Did you want to share your screen?
Yes, how do I do that? I always get it mixed.
Stop, and I'll let you go ahead. You should see like a share button. There you go.
Okay. Okay.
Voila.
All right. So I had to start all the way back over because something went crazy and I just wanted to fix it before I even brought it to the screen.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Where I have, this is what I already copied. I was trying to make the Bee Master.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have these two here. And then I was getting ready to apply them to the pages over here. But once I applied them, just like you did on the demo, it went to page number 2.
Okay, did you apply it to page 2?
No, I applied it to page 3.
Oh, okay. So go ahead and double click on that page.
Okay, yeah, see, well, this one looks different now. It doesn't have the top line.
Click on that bottom line. Is that one? Okay.
I even moved that. That's why I said everything went crazy. I moved that.
So you don't want that bottom line?
No.
Okay. It's probably because that box on the top is covering, like see that image box, the background image. Click on that and then pull that down a little bit in the middle square. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. Just make sure there's no box underneath there. Pull that up so you can see if there's any blue box underneath there that you accidentally created. It's not clickable. No. Okay.
This one is.
Oh, that one is. You should probably take that one off. There you go. You don't really need that one. So the left bottom box. This is something I couldn't figure out with my master pages.
It's weird because the first time I did it, it had both the top and the bottom, and now this just has the bottom.
Go back up to I want to see your A master page. Just double click on A real quick. So you don't have them there. Okay, and then go to B. And you have them there.
Unless it's just supposed to be maybe one side.
No, because you should be able to do left and right.
Because that's the next thing I was going to try.
This is like driving me crazy because I've never had this issue before. And this is exactly what I was having my issue with too. I'm wondering if it has something to do with, go up to the right-hand corner of that box, the page number box. Yeah, right there. Did you change anything in there with apply to master pages or anything, override all master page items?
No. Didn't do anything there. This was already checked. And nothing else.
How did you get that box? I've never seen that box.
Which one? This?
The one you were just in with the has said override and all that stuff that you were scrolling up and down.
Right here. Corner of the panel.
Oh.
I forgot to tell you that too. If you're on Mac and you move it side to side, your mouse will get a little bigger so you can start to see where you are too.
Oh, darn.
Let me look this up real quick here because I wanted to look this up before and I lost track of time here.
Okay.
Hold on one second. I want to see what that override is here. It says you can override a master item only if allow master item overrides on selection is selected in the page panel. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna steal the screen here real quick. I just want to see something.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the issue I was having with mine too. Let me do something real quick. And I'm just gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete all of this stuff. Oops. And I don't have any elements on here, so that's good. Okay. And I had put in this. It's all good. Okay. And this all should be deleted. Okay. Let's start over again here. I'm going to delete my B master page real quick. I'm going to create a new master page. Number of pages is 2, based on master none. Okay. Just making sure I didn't quickly hit something that I may not have noticed before when I first created the master page. So it shouldn't be based off of any master page.
Okay.
And it wasn't. I just clicked on it. So let's go back. I'm not going to put my page number in here. I'm just quickly putting these elements in just to see if this works. So give me 1 second. Okay. So I'm going to pretend like I put the page numbers in. Let me get rid of this here real quick. So this is B. And now I'm going to set this right side B over here, drag it over top. And then I'm going to put the left side B on this side, and right side B on that side, and left side B on this side. And let's see if that actually worked this time.
So, yep, it's that bottom piece of
At
it.
the bottom. So now the top is not there, which is what I wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bottom is. That's really weird.
Mm.
I don't know if that's like something that's just, let me see if it, oh, it did it on this side now.
Yep.
Since everyone's having trouble, could it just be something with InDesign?
I'm almost wondering if it is. That's what another thing I wanted to look into. I've never had that. I never had that issue before.
And don't you hate that when you're recording too? It's like,
Mm-hmm. Right. Let me put none on here. Let's see. Well, this is kind of. I'm like, this is really weird. Okay, so I put a none on my 7 page, but it's still showing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm almost wondering. Let me see. Let me see something here. This is where you like just troubleshoot. Okay, back on there. Okay. If I go back to my master page B, I'm almost wondering if the bleed, I don't know if the bleed has anything to do with it. It shouldn't, but let me just pull this in and see. It really shouldn't, because the bleed, let's see, no, I didn't have that set to the, believe me, I'm human. I've forgotten things before when I do lectures or I get stumped on something, but I like try to figure it out for sure. It's like sometimes the programs will change and update certain things while I'm going through a class, and it's like, okay, wait, I got to figure this out. You know, and I try to keep up with everything as much as I can, but sometimes these new, you know, they come out with new stuff all the time, and it's like, all right.
well, they don't exactly tell you, do they? I mean, like 1 minute in Photoshop, you have to hold the shift key down.
Right.
And now you don't hold the shift key down. It's like when you
They do away with certain
buy
things.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. This shouldn't have anything to do with anything, but I don't know. I'm just seeing if it does. Just real quick here. Okay. So I pulled the bleeds in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put the A back on this master page. I'm going to put the A back on that one. Oops, I left A. No, I just messed that up. Okay.
So I'm wondering, because it went right back over there. When we make the B master, that's what I was getting ready to try. If we just did one side instead of 2.
But see how that just pulls the one block and not the other block.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. I don't know. I've never had this really happen before. So, okay, that looks good. And it didn't even bring in, like, watch. It didn't bring in that one. When I pulled it down here, it didn't even bring in the dots, I don't think. Okay, this is really weird.
Interesting.
That's just a way to do it. Yeah, I don't, it's just really strange. What's why we need two is because we have page numbers on both sides too. So that's, we can't just have one. Let me try to create this again here. If I do a new insert, let's see, new master. What's master options for A? Let's see here. No, okay. Okay, let me just try something real quick. I'm just going to put a giant square up here and do whatever here. Sorry guys, trying to figure this out. And let's see if it actually puts.
Whoa.
See, it's not doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, funny.
It's so weird.
I wonder, is it just the size, maybe?
That's so weird.
That is weird because it put it on one side on one page, and then the other side up.
Okay, so let's do smaller.
Nope, it is smaller.
Look at that. Perfect.
It doesn't have the line down there.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, let me just duplicate this down below because we had two down below and two above.
Mm-hmm. And it's,
It just did it on the bottom of this one. Do you notice that? Right here. Shouldn't be there.
It shouldn't.
Should not.
Oh,
A master page here.
now I'm just wondering, if you move that one right there where you have your cursor over off from the center towards the left, will it disappear? You know, like they're meeting in the middle.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
You mean on B?
Uh-huh.
Like that.
Yes.
Okay, let me save it and see.
So weird. Nope.
Yeah, it took it off.
Oh, it took it off. So
Took it off to this one. So I'm wondering.
maybe is it just the alignment?
It's really weird. Okay, let's see if that changes. See, it's not there now, but it's aligned.
And then, oh, wait a minute.
There has to be something going on with the program.
Now it's there. One. And then that one's missing.
I mean, it's perfect now. It's perfect now when I change that, but for me to just shift that just a little.
Mm-hmm. So it has to be the alignment towards that middle. It's almost like they're overlapping somewhat.
is there any reason why you're not putting that same pink on the first and the last page?
You have your
Or which page? This page?
mhm.
Yeah, see that doesn't have the pink on top, And the same thing with the bottom.
This is the editorial, so it shouldn't have what
Oh.
the feature, and that's kind of what we were trying to figure out because this ends the feature. So what was going on with that blue square we had originally, this one, watch, it's putting that, and it shouldn't be down on this page.
You already have your boxes at the top of each.
So we're trying to figure out why is that doing that? And it shouldn't be doing that. So I'm wondering, oh, you know what? It is kind of overlapped a little bit. Let me see. Let me pull that over. Maybe that's what's going on. Let's see. Yep, you got it. So it was overlapped just slightly. And that fixed it. Did you see what I just did? We just figured this out.
So it was the alignment?
So see this box right here?
Mm-hmm.
This is a separate box. This was pulled over just slightly over the next page. See how this, now it's a little bit bigger? Watch, I'll pull it up, you'll see it.
Okay.
It's not on that middle spine. It's not aligned to that middle. Watch what happens when I save this. When it's just overlapped a little bit on the left-hand side. Now it's down here.
Because it's considering it part of the right page because that little bit's hanging over?
Yep.
Oh, clever.
So you have to make sure, not only do you have to do separate elements, which I understood that, but you also have to have it aligned right on that line perfectly. So zooming in, I just saved it and see how it's not there anymore.
Wow.
We just figured it out. I've never had that
really
issue
cool.
before.
See, but I like to watch you do that because then it helps me to
Yeah.
know
Well,
that I'm not wasting time because sometimes you feel like, but no, that's what you do.
well, that was driving me crazy because I couldn't figure it out either. And I'm like, this has never happened before. So that's why. So you have to pay attention to, it has to actually align right at the end of that page.
Isn't that something?
Right on that. You can't do one total line either. You can't do this.
Because it's going to go through the other spreads.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. Save and then go back to this. Yep. It's going to show on both.
I'll be darned.
See? On this one too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we figured that out. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
It's not in vain.
Yay!
Like a mystery. I have to get down to the bottom of it.
All right, so we just have to make sure everything's aligned, even at the top. I guess my one on the top was aligned. Another thing you can check for that, and I should have done that, was go up to Window and choose Properties. And this will tell you right here. See this Y coordinate right there? That's telling me right at 0. So if I were to change this to like 1 inch, watch what happens.
Oh,
So
wow.
in my Y coordinates, that should be 0. Just like when I click on this one, it should be 0, 0, which it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
And then also, if this was just pulled out a little bit too far, like I had it, it's going to tell me my width is 8.58, when really my pages should be only be 8.5, right?
Oh, okay.
So that takes it back to 8.5 wide, my actual box. So you can check that and then just make sure it's at X0 coordinates. It's not at X0. Say if it's like 0.125, see how it kind of offsets it right there? Make sure it's 0 and it's 8.5 long. That's kind of how you would really check specifically if you don't zoom in and align it based on your length of your page.
Well, that's good. I like that because then I know for sure.
You can click on it, see what the size of the width, and then this is the height of it. So if you wanted to change the height of it or the width, you could do it here. I just did it.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Great tip.
Yep.
Okay.
If you wanted to change the size of like anything, just go to your properties, and this is going to tell you the width and the height. So let's say, okay, I want to do 3 by 3. It's going to give me a 3 by 3 square.
That's how I do mine.
Really? Oh, that's good.
Yep. And then if you wanted this to align like at the X coordinate 0, say if you wanted to start 0, align at 0, and I'll take it to the top. This is exactly aligned at the very top corner. So just another way to double check to see if you have things aligned.
Now, can I ask you something? I'm really confused on this. Now, I know the red line is for the bleed. I get that. But that inside line, I try to put everything inside that, but then I see like you're doing this stuff on the outside of that. So I'm just a little...
Okay, so this is your margin.
Right. So all text go inside the margin.
Yeah. So
Okay. So I'm
margins
doing that right.
are pretty much just a guide for you to set your type.
Okay, good.
Right, to align to it. Now, your elements are a little different. You can set those a little differently like I did up here. And you can always change your margins, although I would definitely say stick with what the default margins are, which is at least a 1/2 inch and then 3/4 of an inch at the bottom. And that just allows for your page number, folio, just a little bit more space down there.
So where do they actually cut? Between the red line and the paper?
So right where the paper, where that gray is, this is your trim edge right here. So
okay, that. See, I keep thinking that they cut between the line, the
here.
margin. Yeah, so I'm trying to cram everything inside the margin.
Now your easier way to
I
do
wouldn't go outside of the margin unless it's like this, kind of an element like this.
Well, like images, right?
Yeah, like an image or,
okay.
type, I would keep it inside this purple margin.
Beautiful. That helps. Okay.
Because if you have, like,
that makes a big difference.
see how I have copies set on this side. It keeps it consistent. What's nice about margins is it frames your layout, and that frame helps balance your white space. It helps focus on the information inside. It's just an overall good balance. It makes it easier to read. If this was like super close to the trim edge, it just, especially because if this is a printed magazine,
right, it's gonna have
lots of visual reading in the middle here anyway. But it's just not balanced. It's going to be harder to read. It might be cut off when it's printed. So keeping that, it just balances everything nicely visually, and it frames that information. Now, the images are a little different. They're more aesthetic. So if you want them to be bled off just like your elements here, that's fine, as long as you're not cutting, say, her face in half like that.
Right. Well, that's what I usually do. I bring it out to the red line.
Yeah. Yep.
Safe zone.
And if you don't have it set to the red line, like I said, it could be fine. But especially when magazines are printed, there's so many copies and pages printed out that presses can shift the paper on the press. And there could be like a white line showing that's uneven. And that's why it's always good to kind of be, and this is a little, like I would probably say be careful with using borders like this too, because this can also shift on press where it may look uneven. For example, if I pull this bleed up, which it's in my master page here, say if I pull this bleed up and it's supposed to trim like right on this black edge, but say it shifts a little bit, so it prints a little bit higher, I'm going to have an uneven space above here. Because it's going to show a little bit more. That's like, just something to think about if you're doing like business cards, something that you're really like, it's just like one piece that you're looking at closely. Yeah, just the borders can be a little weird. So
cool. Okay.
Any other questions? I'm so glad you were able to figure that out, though.
That was good, huh?
It's driving me nuts.
I do have one more question on your video on the other class, when you were doing, so the page numbers go in the A master, except for page 2 and 3 go in the B master. Is that right?
So A master it's just the same thing. So you're going to copy and paste. So you can just copy this if you wanted to on A master. Go to your B, and I'll do it here because I don't have it in here right now. And just do paste, and it's going to change it to B. See how it just changed it to B?
And then it'll save it.
Yep. So you just have to make sure it's on the same baseline. So if you select this, go to your properties.
So The A master does all the numbers in, because that's what I did first, and then I saw that you were doing on the.
You want it to be A and B to do.
Okay.
You want to set both of your pages up with page numbers. You're just going to copy and paste it in there from your A. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That way it'll
And it's going
continue.
to automatically change it to B, letter-wise. Like I didn't even change that. Look, it changed it to B.
I see. Yeah.
Because if you don't, watch what happens. Okay, so like say you forget and you're on your A master page and you have your folio set, but in B you don't have that. So let's delete this. By accident you forgot. Save it. All right, look what happens. There's no page number, no folio. But there is on A. So that's what's going on there. It won't show if you're assigning it the B master page, you got to make sure you have the page numbers on there. I'll put it right back and watch what happens. I'm going to save it. Now it's set.
Okay.
Now it might not always show if you have an image here, hiding that. That's why it wouldn't show.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Do
It's
you get
okay
paid
if
off for that?
it's okay if it doesn't show on, say, like this double page spread, because we have one showing on the right hand side. It's okay. But you could do something where you're making it your own. Say if you really needed that page number to show, you would just have to make another master page with this image on it, and you would bring it to the front, or you would just bring this up so you could see it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or I would probably bring it up like halfway up here so it looks a little better.
Wow.
But I would say in this instance, you have one on this side, so it's not like people are going to be like, oh, what page number am I on?
True.
As long as you have it on this side, you're good. And then you have it here too. This is actually getting really, really close. I need to push this down a little bit. But anyway, let me, my copy's getting a little bit too close to the bottom edge here. Right there. That's too close to the bottom. So I'm probably going to bring this down just a little bit. So just make sure, yeah, it's getting a little close to the bottom. This is actually super close to the bottom. I would probably say if I were grading myself, I'd be like, bring this up one more. But why is this up more than this one? Okay, so something's going on here with my alignment. And how I would check that is go to properties, select them both. I have some alignment issues here. Okay, and it's telling me it's on 0.5 for my A. So if I go to B and I select both of mine and I go to properties, 0.5. Okay, there's something obviously wrong here, 0.5. Oh, okay. I was looking at the wrong thing here. Hold on, guys. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Copy the Y.
Yep.
And then paste it
The
in.
Y. Yep. It's been a long day. It's like, oh my gosh. Okay, properties and the Y. Yeah, this is where I would change it. Now I'm having issues with the bottom being too far down into the blue, but that's something that you'd have to figure out, and I didn't quite see that until now. So maybe let me see if I can just take this out completely. Okay. Maybe just having it on the top would be best, because I don't really want to pull it up anymore because it's going to affect my lines of text. So just taking it off the bottom is probably the best thing for me to do. It's still consistent. It's just not as balanced because I have, just the top. But I'd have to shift all my type, and I don't want to do that. So. Okay. Anything else that you guys want to show? Anything else? I know I kind of stole the screen back to figure that master page.
Oh, that's what I meant to ask. Where you have I think it's on page 2. Did you say we had to put the continued on page 7, or was it okay without?
I would say put it on page 2, but don't put it on page 7. I've had some people that'll say continue from page 2 on
Okay.
page 7. Just, you don't need that on page 7. Just as long as you have it on page 2,
Okay.
you know, somewhere here set off.
And
So,
that can go in a metallic font.
yeah. Mhm.
It
And
is.
smaller point size. And then also don't forget, you're going to have to put your table of contents information here. So make sure you have some type of, this is probably a good space to put it in here. Just make sure you have space. I had some people that covered their whole page 2, and I'm like, don't forget, week 4, we're going to put your table of contents in.
Okay.
So just be mindful of that. And then we'll be getting into your cover page next week, and then placing an ad on page 8.
Okay.
So,
Alrighty.
fun stuff.
And then we're just going to use the same styles that we already have on file for the subheads and
Yeah, for your cover, yes, and I'll show you.
okay.
I'll try to show you how I would go about it. But yeah, use the same style. You want to make it look consistent. You don't want to change it up too much. If
Okay.
you constantly change, especially the body copy, you want to keep that very
Yeah,
consistent.
because I was going to keep it the same because you don't want to have more than 3.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody like, okay, am I looking at the same magazine or what's going on here? So keep it consistent. Like I changed the color, here, but that's not a big deal. Just as long as you're keeping it consistent. And then the drop cap, I noticed some of you guys doing the drop cap more than once in one article. There's only one drop cap in each article. There should be. So for instance, where it says picture this, I've had students start another drop cap down here underneath the subhead. So A would be a drop cap. And what happens is that kind of shows the viewer that maybe this is another article inside this article, because usually you only have one drop cap per article. Now I'm using it here because it's another article, different than this article.
Cool.
So just kind of make sure you're not using more than one drop cap in one article. Okay. And then the pull quotes, that's the challenging thing, especially if you have a lot of information to get those pull quotes in. But you don't necessarily have to have all your images, don't have to be really big. Like for instance, this one's really small, and I just kind of integrated it within the pull quote. This one's smaller, it's just these ones got a little bit bigger, which is nice to have a balance with the text, especially on your double page spread. So it's not all so text heavy. It breaks it up a little bit.
Right.
Because what happens is, I don't know if you've ever opened a magazine and saw all text on like both pages, and you're just like, it's kind of overwhelming. We're visual people too, we want to see that balance. So.
Definitely.
I even went back in between and changed the end lines. I have it real bad. I have OCD, and so when I see something out of order, I have to go in and get it. Like towards the ends with the hyphens, and it's one complete word. I have to go ahead and just put that word on the next line and make it even.
Yep. Gotta be real. Like, it's good to be OCD though. I mean, it drives you nuts, but you're paying attention to details if you are. And typically, I don't know. I'm an OCD type of person when it comes to design, and I think that really helps me. Notice something here.
It helps me with everything. I know if someone's moved my stuff in my office.
There you go, see? But then it can also drive you nuts. So only if it's getting in the way of your daily life and affecting you in a negative way.
Mine is always in a positive.
Yeah, so pay attention to those details, because if you don't, it's like that'll really pretty much make or break you as a professional designer, because people, they want to make sure you can design the best looking, for instance, magazine, and if you present it in a way that's messy or not, professional, people look at that. The details are in the presentation too.
They look for that one thing, and that one thing could just blow it all.
Yep. So, yep. So pay attention to the details. All right. Any other questions or concerns or?
No, good for now. Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
No.
You are too. Brain like this, I love it.
You guys helped me resolve that issue. I'm glad, because I was driving me crazy, and it's awesome. I like that one.
Yeah, I'd never gotten that. Not on my own, I don't think.
Sometimes it's just that you have to problem solve together. It's a collaboration
Mhm.
of sorts. So
Well, I
Mhm.
love watching how you guys do it, you know. Just
work
yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you think of things I would never think to do or to look at, or
Mhm.
so it's just really nice. It helps.
When you're working in that type of I've worked in many, many different creative groups. And that's something that you do together. You collaborate. If you have issues, you problem solve together. And that's nice when you have a close team that you can do that with, especially
I'm,
when you don't have as much experience, and people can help you out.
yeah, I'm getting ready to do that to the GAT Club on we're doing a food truck thing.
Oh, okay.
And me and 2 other girls are doing the research, and we have our groups now. We're going to start. Yeah, so that's
It
my
can-
first time doing anything like that.
Okay. Group projects can be fun. They could be a nightmare too, but it all depends on the people in the group.
Well, the one girl I study with, so,
Okay.
and then we met the other girl through the GAT, and she seems really cool.
Just as long as everybody takes on
Yeah.
their own way, all
It's all
balances out.
important.
Mhm.
You know, I've only had trouble with one person the whole time I've been in school.
That's good.
And it was just some guy in discussion that was just really rudely dogging on everybody's design. We were supposed to be critiquing, and he was just being really mean. And it's just like, man, it just made me so mad.
Yep. It just
Just
takes
paying
one person. It takes one person to make, change the energy of a group. So
Well, I responded to him, and he's like, well, I'm just getting you ready for what it's like in the real world. They will chew you up and spit you out. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to work for anybody like that. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I'm not going to be. I mean, he was just being rude.
yeah, not being very objective.
Yeah, saying their designs were creepy and what are you? He's like, no. What are you thinking? Are you crazy? It's like, really, dude?
Mhm. I
Like,
just learned that silence is the best response.
Well, I mean, there's ways to say certain things that are
Mhm.
gonna be more effective and productive.
Mhm.
Where you're saying it, and that's you got to be really careful.
well, it was funny because after I said something, he critiqued mine, and he was very nice about it. And I said, thank you.
You stand up for yourself. Well, there's a difference between standing up. You got to say that, and I've had that with even employers, like arguing with you, saying, "Oh, but I like this color. I don't like this color that you use." As long as you have a good backup that's saying, "Yeah, well, this is fine that you like this color. It's very subjective that you're saying this, but it's not going to work because," and then you follow it up with factual information.
Right. Well,
But
I'm usually a quiet type. I don't say nothing, but he really just pushed my buttons. The way he was talking to everybody, it's like, come on, be nice, you know?
yeah, some
Let you
people.
know how he will be in the future.
Yeah.
Business wise.
It's like we didn't learn soft skills for nothing, I hope. I mean,
Some people have to go back, right?
yeah, it's like they got to be nice too.
Yeah.
Tell them how you say things.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up here.
Cool beans. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Sorry about the late start.
It is okay.
Good luck on your quizzes.
Thank you. And thanks for everything.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming in. If you have run into any issues, let me know.
Okay, cool.
I'll be around. So,
I definitely will.
all right, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Talk to you soon. All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.